nickels and dimes wherever they can. They've got enough sophisticated financial people to know to look at our little pile too. So we're not going to necessarily succeed in keeping it under a rock, but it does not hurt to have it over there. It's not hard to account for. And so if everybody's happy with that, next month I can add another 10 to this beautiful boat that's out there somewhere in our future.
Right. We have talked about public access projects at Whalen's Wharf, and loosely talked about it at the sewer plant. Maybe we should start building a fund for, a named fund for a reserve for more public access. We have this study there, which we haven't done, but if we're going to actually do dock work, that's going to get expensive. We could, and that's something we would need to accumulate money for also.
I like that suggestion.
Yeah, maybe we can put a line item in the budget that says public access, whatever, and throw some monies in that to start building that up. Does that work for you, Sherm?
Sure, I'll put it right under the master replacement boat.
Yeah, put a public access dock reserve or something. Public access dock reserve.
Public access bill reserve, something. I'll come up with something, and then we can change it. But understand, I think we all do because we've done it. We did it before. Because we do this, if something comes along, the water slide I have advocated for all these years, and we decide to do it, we can move money back just as easily moved it there. So it does no harm to do what we're talking about.
There are no constraints to creating accounts like that?
Pardon?
There are no constraints to creating new accounts?
Well, we aren't creating new accounts. We're just creating a new way to describe it on our private P&L.
Right. We're just trying to show, Joe, we have a excess amount of money, but we're showing that we have plans for it and we're trying to accumulate it to execute those plans.
Eric, there is another set of books. That's the set that the town keeps. They have different classifications for all of these items. Matter of fact, they only have 2 or 3 that they even use. We don't use the whole thing. The important thing is that their bottom line, both on income and expense, it matches ours, or the other way around. Ours match theirs, which they do every month. So we just have a different way of describing it.
Yeah, the other way to look at it is that, these are all public records. The treasurer's report is attached to our minutes and such. And if people are curious and they're going digging and they see that we, as was stated, that we're allocating funds towards things that we want to get done as opposed to just sitting on a pile of money, it represents us better. That we've got money that we're putting aside for a boat. We've got money that we're putting aside for public access. I just think to anybody that was curious enough to go looking, it represents us well.
I agree.
Another line item that we could possibly add would be something regarding the harbor master's dock. Emergency repair funds, something of that nature, set aside $5,000 or whatever we want in the event that we have a storm that damages the dock.
Oh, dock maintenance, yeah. Maintenance fund.
I don't think there's a dock repair fund line item in there now, but perhaps we could add one to it, Sherm, and throw $5,000 and let it just sit there.
Yeah, we might want to do that up under the approved projects and capital. But yes, that's fine. We can do that. We can add another project basically, and that's the emergency fund, and just maintain it there.
Well, maybe that's a better thing to call it, just emergency fund, and not allocate it towards the dock or the boat or anything of that nature, just whatever emergencies may come along.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
I'll put together something for next month and we can talk about it when we see it and look at it.
Good.
Okay. Any other items for treasurer's report?
I just had a technical question. Reimbursement, like for that sign, it's a minor amount of money, but what's the technical process for doing that? Do I submit an invoice to Sherm or to Jay or somebody?
You just send one to me, I'll get it paid.
Okay.
Did you pay for it, Joe?
Yeah, I just paid for the signs. It's $100, not a big deal, but I just didn't know what the process was.
Okay. Yeah, you'd send it to invoice to Sherm for you to get reimbursed, right?
Okay.
I mean, sometimes when you're working with a company that you can say, you can say the town will pay for it and they'll send you an invoice and you give it to Sherm and they pay them directly. But
Okay.
we try to do it that way rather than having to pay for things ourselves.
All right.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
I'll make a motion we approve the treasurer's report.
Second,
You get a second?
I second it. Jesse seconded.
Yes, Jesse, second.
thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you, Sherm. On to Eric, Howard Ellis's report.
Okay.
That's
So
the agenda too, guys. All right.
Okay, so for the Harbor Masters report, this month we haven't issued any new permits. As of when I wrote this, there was 2 more permits in the works, and there's actually I gave mooring permit applications to 2 more people for east side moorings just this weekend. So that's where we're at there. We did have 1 mooring officially given up this month. That'll go on the to be reassigned list. I didn't have because I wrote this while I was at work, I didn't have the deposits in front of me. I just quickly looked at them. And so there was actually no money deposited since the last record. And my numbers agree with Sherm's total of 24,000 and change there. So we're good there. I guess probably the biggest story of this past month would be the storm from this past week. We did very well in the harbor. We only had 1 mooring that I'm aware of that dragged, and it dragged probably 100 feet or so. When Ian went out to reposition it and investigate it, basically the chain had wrapped around the shank of the mushroom, on multiple tides and stood it up. And we were a steady wind out of the south at 25 to 30 miles an hour. I have heard reports from different people of gusts between 60 and 65.
Yes.
So for all of that to happen for the amount of time that it did and only have 1 mooring drag, I think that speaks volumes towards the mooring inspection program. And just everything really worked out well. I was very pleased to go back down there on Tuesday night and Wednesday morning and not see anything really out of position.
Hey, Eric, I got a report right at the end of Church Street that somebody had their instruments on and they had a maximum gust recording of 80.
Wow.
Recorded. Yeah. I mean, not sustained, but that was a max.
Wow. Yeah, 65 was the max I had heard before that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the storm was downplayed by the Weather Channel and everybody else as it came up the coast and started turning inland. So there probably wasn't as much storm prep by personal mooring holders that you would get if it had been advertised to be a bigger storm. We did have some sail covers come loose and things like that, but they stayed with the boats. They didn't end up as debris in the harbor. So we really ended up in a good position. Dotson's, this season, I've gotten some questions answered now from them. So they've actually made the business decision early this year that they were not doing transient moorings, mainly to protect their workers, their launch drivers, and just not bring extra people into the marina to keep the social contact numbers down. That has increased the amount of phone calls that I have gotten saying, "Hey, does the town rent moorings? Do you have an anchorage area we can use? How does it work there?" And Melanie can probably attest to this, being that she's right on the southern edge. But the transient anchorage area, in my opinion, has seen more traffic this year than 5 to 10 previous years.
I totally agree with you, Eric. Today is a perfect example. 4 transients in the Anchorage just today.
Yeah, and that's
a
a Monday. That's almost unheard of for a Monday.
Exactly.
So that's also carrying over to the usage of the dinghy dock down by Breakwater Restaurant, up against the where the new signs were just put up by Joe. All in all, it's been pretty good. I've had a couple of people actually contact me and say, "Can the sign says no, but is there any methods to leave a boat there overnight or for a couple of days?" I've worked with them, just had them put them on the backside out of the way, send me all the registration information, contact information, and we're not getting any abuse down there, really. There have been a couple of, if those are dinghies, I'd love to see the boat that they came from situations. Some 18 and 20 footers tying up they must have gone into town for dinner or lunch or something, but for the most part, pretty good results down there at the transient dock. And there is, when I wrote this, we were on the tail end of a mid 90s temperature-wise week. So there has been a lot more swimming from the inner breakwater. For the most part, it's being treated well. I don't tell the kids that they cannot swim there. What I tell them is, you keep an eye out for the boats. If a boat comes down here, you get out of their way. The boat's not going to get out of your way. It's hard to see just ahead bobbing around. And everyone that I've said that to has said, yes, definitely, we're keeping an eye out. So that's been good. The other side of that is, just the numbers are up. So, of course, the percentage stays the same, but it puts more people climbing on the aid to navigation. A little bit of back talk now and then, but for the most part, they get off of it when I tell them to. There is, and I made an effort to look for it, there is no signage on that aid at all. There isn't even a sign on the ladder that says keep off. So there's nothing telling these people that they're doing something stupid, because I'll just leave it at that. So I think that the commission needs to make a formal request to the Coast Guard aids to navigation to install some kind of signage, at least on the ladder. Government property, keep off, something along those lines. Something that makes it harder to get up the ladder. Constantina wire would be great, but can't do that. So I think the commission needs to take a position on that. And as far as the boat goes, It's been running great. Everything's in good condition. The hatch that we had talked about getting replaced, I think kind of late in the winter season. I've made the necessary temporary repairs to that. It's not falling apart. It's cosmetically, it's not all that pretty, but it works. It does its job. And this winter, earlier on, we can research maybe just doing a full replacement of that thing or something. So overall, the boat is in good shape. And that's about all I have for that.
Question along, Eric, with your comment about the swimming off the breakwater. I'm sure you see it too. You often see kids up on the roof at the gazebo at Wayland's Wharf jumping off, which is really dangerous. It's dangerous for a lot of reasons. Getting up there is dangerous. Jumping off is dangerous. Slipping and falling from the rooftop is dangerous. And I don't believe there's any signs there at all. I don't. I guess that's owned by the town. I don't know whose business it is, but it's sort of falls in the same category as, the government mark and swimming off the breakwater.
Yeah, I can't say I see as much of that, Joe, but I have seen that. There was 6 kids in the water Tuesday afternoon when it was blowing 30 miles an hour, and probably 3 to 4 footers in the harbor. There was 6 kids in the water off the dock there laughing and giggling. And I didn't even try and argue with them. I just called the police department and said, hey, why don't you send somebody down here? I'm not going to argue with these kids. So the police said they were going to send somebody down to get the kids out of the water during the storm. That was pretty stupid.
Jay, do we want to assign somebody for the formal request to the Coast Guard for an action item?
I'm getting deja vu on this one. I thought we had done this before a couple of times. I forget. Have you contacted somebody down there, down at the sector? Eric?
I have not contacted anybody at Sector about this. The last conversations I had with Sector was the repainting of the base when that got graffiti.
Okay. I guess it's the same people to talk to.
Correct.
Okay. Would you want to do it as a harbor master role? I think it's probably the Coast Guard probably responds better to you than to us. I don't know. All right. So we need to work with them on the breakwater and that aid, but that's a whole different thing. That's working with construction people and stuff, not the operators down there in New Haven.
All right. I just, I can make the statement that I'm approaching them with the backing of the Harbor Management Commission, right?
Definitely. Yeah, we've tried to get a sign in the past. We've talked about.
All right, I'll make some phone calls tomorrow and see if I can talk to somebody in SEC. I might have a name still kicking around. I'll make some calls.
Yeah. Okay. Well, they change every couple of years too.
All right. I guess I got a new action item, huh?
Yes.
Thanks, boss.
Sorry.
All right. How about any other discussion for the Harbor Management Report or Harbor Masters Report?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Thank you, Ed. Can I get a second?
Second.
Is that Joe?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any more discussion?
So let's see. Bruce McKinnon came out with me on the boat. What day was that, Bruce? Saturday, I think, or Sunday. I was out cruising around. You called me.
Yeah, yesterday.
Sunday.
Part of our conversation was in the mooring inspection. I'm probably going to tend to be a little more lenient this year on unused moorings just because of the whole people are not putting their boats in the water because of the pandemic thing. I'm just throwing that out there as general information.
Are you also being lenient on the winter sticks then too?
Well, anybody that contacted me and asked, what the deal was, I said, yeah, you don't have to put your boat in the water, but you do have to replace your winter stick just to get rid of a hazard to navigation. I can say that people I talk to have done it, but I still see a lot of winter sticks in the harbor too.
Well, luckily those new plastic ones are not much of a hazard.
Right. Yeah, they tend to float up better and
Yeah.
do better.
Well, they don't have very much reserve buoyancy either, so they'll sink pretty quickly. With that regard, I have made contact with half a dozen people in my area regarding their moorings, what their plans are, and actually I've got responses already from everybody. So I've pursued that already to try to inquire as to what you guys can do with your mooring because you don't have a boat on it yet. But everybody's come back with good answers, so I'm not concerned.
Can I ask protocol, being the new guy on the block, Jesse, is that what we do? In my sector, there's not only boat or moorings with no boats on them, there's winter sticks, and there's no moorings at all. Just no mooring, no sign of anything. So is the protocol to give those folks a call and find out what's going on?
Well, I would say that we don't have a protocol that's specific with regards to that. I did talk with Eric about this a few days ago, if he had any problems with me contacting some of the people in my area, although I wasn't going to oversee his authority. So I came up with a fairly soft email to people that says, basically, here, what's going on. In fact, I even included a photograph of their mooring or their winter stick and said, just let me know what your intentions are for this season. I didn't say anything more regarding that. If you'd like, I can send that email to you. Send it to Eric. I haven't heard back from Eric as to whether he thought it was a fairly inert email. But if Eric agrees with it, then I can send it to you. You can send it out if you want.
Sure, that'd be great. Happy to do that.
Joe, you've got rows 1 through 6, right? Rod's old area?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I sent you a copy of the last report. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it, but there's,
I'm going off the top of my head right now, and my little helper cheat sheet here on the bulletin board. So I just wanted to, when you said that, I was just visually, trying to think of an area. So.
Yep, that's right.
So let me jump in on that a little bit, because in reality, the reports that we provide to Eric don't really need to be to him until September, after our 60-day period or so, because we really don't have a violation until the violation occurs. In my case, I know a lot of the people in my area, and I wanted them to tell me what their plans are, but I didn't cite them for any type of a violation. I just sent them something that says, here's what it says in our newsletter regarding me doing surveys. Here's what it says in our plan regarding their requirements. What are your intentions? And I didn't go any further than that. So I don't know. I mean, Eric can certainly decide what he wants, but I don't provide Eric with anything that requires him to do anything until I have enough evidence that requires it, which is normally not until September or so.
Okay.
Is that fair, Eric?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, the one thing that we do try and act on is winter sticks and markers that are hazards, ones that have sunk. We try and act on those fairly quickly. Get at least get a call into the contractor to say, hey, what's going on with this, or to the mooring holder saying, well, what the heck's going on, so we can try and get those taken care of. The winter sticks that aren't hazards, those are the next ones down on the list. So anything that you see as a hazard, Joe, you express that to me, immediately or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the winter sticks are enforceable in, July. If they're winter sticks is there still in July, then that's something we could have
Right.
in the summertime.
Yep.
Right.
The
Almost everybody's-
total lack of use, no boat at all, then yeah, we can't really say that till later.
Almost all the responses I've gotten have said, because of the COVID virus, we haven't been able to do this. We've been stuck down in DC. We couldn't who knows what. So, I mean, I didn't say that in my email. I didn't provide a ready-made excuse. But I think that because of the issues of the virus and quarantines and things of that nature, people are not using their moorings like they've done in previous years and hopefully in future years. They were kind of cutting them a break, based I can tell on it.
Right. But I did read your report, Joe. And I did know I was out there the other day. I did notice what you were pointing out. There's quite a few vacant locations. Either their winter stack got lost or they're just not assigned. Wasn't it?
Well, I mean, there are a lot of locations that had nothing there that were unassigned based on the master list.
Yeah.
But there are other locations where they were assigned. Well, just pick a random number like 3H or something, whatever. Just make one up. But it was assigned, but there was no evidence of any mooring of any sort, winter stick or regular mooring or anything at all.
Right. That's interesting.
It seems that warrants some sort of follow up.
Yeah.
Just find out what's going on.
Right.
There is some leeway on a new assignment, especially if the assignment happens, March, April, or later on, where people have already committed to contracts at a marina or something like that. That there is yes, you can have a mooring. You got to pay your $50 this year. If you don't put the gear in this year, but you're going to put it in next year, that's okay. There's looks like a couple of new assignments in your area, Joe, that might be the result of. But part of it also, Joe, for your area is it's reserved is not the right word, but I hold back for bigger vessels because the spacing south of the transient anchorage is the spacing on the grid is a little bit bigger. It's made to hold larger vessels, and honestly, in the latest rounds of assignments, we've really been a lot in the mid 20s to low 30s LOA lengthwise, and I've been trying to keep those more up in the teens to 20s and fill those spots in there up in Paul's area, and Bruce has got a couple of new ones. Bruce McKinnon has a couple of new ones up in his area. So there is kind of a reluctance to put smaller boats where we need the space for big boats. So there is going to be some amount of holdout until we just run out of room elsewhere in the harbor and we're forced to put smaller boats out there.
Okay.
All right. I think we had a motion on the table to approve the harbor master's report. Any more discussion? Okay, I got a vote on the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, ayes have it. Thank you, Eric. Let's see here. Where am I? Next on the agenda is the
Old business.
old business, which we have the harbor management plan revision. Which has been a lot of activity. Looks like just got it, jumped in and helped out Ed and myself to the point where I didn't do anything myself. And it looks pretty good. Quite a few read it and gave comments back. That's great. I'm not sure everybody had a chance to digest it all yet. I have not. The one thing I wanted to talk about was whether we wanted to try to change the waitlist fee piece. As you know, Deep had recommended that we were unusual that we actually had the fees in our some plan, that we should just have a reference there that we can set the fees and and have approval by the Board of Selectmen or something like that. So we wouldn't have to go back to a town vote to get change the ordinance to change the fees. They also said the fees were very low, and thought that was, I don't know if they thought that was bad. They just said our fees were exceptionally low compared to most towns.
Online Mooring said the same thing.
But I believe we took out the reference to the actual dollar value, right? I think they're all taken out. So we can change it at will.
Okay.
I think the problem with that is that nobody knows what the fee is. How does somebody who's interested in having a mooring in the harbor find out what the fee is?
Oh, well, we have a separate document that has the fee. We have that now anyway, because the old plan had the old fees. Our existing approved plan has the old fees, and we have another document on the town on our commission webpage that has the new fee structure.
And that's a document we can change at will without a meeting from the town?
Well, that'd be that's what we would write in the plan, that we changed by recommendation by the commission and approval by the Board of Selectmen, is what the type of thing we put in the. And then we have, if you look at the town, our page at the town website, there's a document there called mooring fees, which is just a one-page document that has the fees.
So what we need to do then in the harbor management plan is reference that location so that people can find out what the fees are.
Yeah, that the fees will be posted.
Yeah.
On the town website.
I mean, somebody reads the entire plan, 30 pages, who knows what it is, and they end up with, I don't know what it's going to cost. So we need to have a reference there to the website or whatever site's necessary, so that somebody reading the plan will be able to go directly to the fees without having to dig through a lot of dirt to get to it. We want to make it easy for them to find out what the fees are.
Okay.
Right, it's right there next to the link to the mooring and waiting lists in the on the town website.
Okay.
All right, I'll pick it up and put it in there. The other area that I really need some help in is online moorings. And I put a bunch of comments in there that says, we need to insert reference to the online moorings here, but I don't know the online mooring procedure well enough to do it.
Ed,
Yeah.
I sent some comments, but they were very late. But just on online moorings, I recommend we do not mention online mooring or any other contractor that we work with in the ordinance, certainly, or the plan, because they may not be there tomorrow, or we may not want to work with them tomorrow. I don't see a necessity of that as long as we provide in the ordinance the necessary reference to what people need to do. For example, in my mind, a boater that wants to get on our wait list, doesn't know anything else, I would have him call Eric. There might be 10 of them in a year, 12. And Eric will say, I will send you the application. And anything else Eric might want to say about it, including what the cost is. After that, if we use online properly, everything else is fairly covered by a scheduled notice that is going out by email and by mail if we want to, either on the 1st of January on mooring permit renewals, where we can refer again to online, although people on renewals, many of them already have that experience. In September, anybody that's, if I remember right, anybody that's on the wait list is going to get another notification according to the ordinance that it's time for them, they need to renew their wait list application. And in that document, we can remind them it's online, give them the wait list, website again, and so forth. Eric is going to confirm the new permit renewal or a new permit for somebody coming off the wait list. That's a document that has to go out, and that can include any information we want about how they go ahead and update their information, even if we have been forced a year from now to change vendors because online was not able to continue in business or we didn't like them. In other words, we don't have to go back and change our vendor in our ordinance because we're no longer using that vendor for whatever reason. We've got lots of ways that we're using where we're doing something anyway in the way of communication, where we can keep people up to date. We can address any problems that appear to be systemic problems, like something isn't, Melanie, something is always being misused. We can talk about that. We publish a schedule in the newsletter. We can also add to the newsletter some tutorial kind of stories about things that come up either online, is having trouble with, or we can help fix, and so on. In other words, I think we got a lot of ways to communicate to voters about how to work our system without describing the whole system in our ordinance. We need to say when something's going to happen. A letter shall go out on such and such a day, or will go out, or may go out, however we want to do that. But aside from that, I don't think we need all the other stuff.
Okay, that makes my life easier.
Well, that's just my opinion, Ed. No, you don't want to do it something just because I have that opinion.
I'm looking for an easy way out. Okay, I got your comments, so I'll incorporate them. Thank you.
Should we then have another document somewhere that describes our process as it is today, like just a guidance document or something?
Well, maybe so. That probably wouldn't hurt, but let's be careful. We want to move. We for sure, I think we do. Eric, you speak to this now. We want to move people to online from using our old system of paper and paper checks and so forth. We acknowledged when we started this that, or the numbers we got from online was that roughly first year, 50% of the renewals will utilize online and 50% are going to do it the old way. And a year from now, it'll be 70-30. And, you know, eventually life will come down to 10 to 15% of guys are always going to do a paper deal and send my old check. And that's just the way it is. But everybody else will do online. So I don't think we ought to advertise or talk up our old way of doing it. I think we need to have it, but I think we should talk about the new way in every opportunity we get. And we have a lot of opportunities, as we're communicating quite a bit with voters that we are working with, and with voters at large through our website at the town and through our newsletter.
Yeah, I agree, and that is our goal, is to move as much as possible to the online system, including it's going to take a couple of years, I'm sure. Hopefully next year we can really start pushing it, or even later this year. just when anybody calls and says, I want to be on the wait list, just saying, okay, well, here's the website you got to go to and work your way through it. So I personally am torn about how much needs to be in the ordinance. I tend to agree. Simple is better, and the ordinance should just, should just refer to the fact that we're keeping a list. Like you said, the time schedule that it'll go out, and maybe we should just make it generic that it'll be via post office or electronic notification, and use broad words like electronic notification, and leave it at that, so that it leaves us open to using that without being in any violation of our own plan. Like you say, it doesn't lock us into having to make a plan change when we're not happy with online mooring and we want to go with Bob's mooring service.
Okay.
So the last thing that came up in the plan revision is apparently the Connecticut Port Authority is on the review cycle for this thing, which I was not aware of. I think that Paul found that and verified it. So I don't know what the sequence is, but we need to find out what notification do we need to provide to Connecticut Port Authority, what forms do we need to fill out, what status does the plan need to be in. My guess is that we would go to, well, I don't know, whether we go to DEP first or CPA first, but in either case, they have to be done before we go to the town. So anybody have any insight into the Connecticut Port Authority and DEP and what the sequence is and what forms we need to fill out?
I say shotgun them at the same time.
Well, I think, I don't know, I would get in touch. I'll get in touch with Kim at DEP and see what she says to do.
All right. So what about CPA?
She might be distributing it to them.
Well, that would be great.
Because she's kind of like the point person for these things for the state.
So you're going to pursue both DEP and CPA. All right, great. Thanks. Thanks, Jay.
Yeah. So when we're ready, I'll send it back to her.
Well, I think we should be ready by September because the comments that we have are relatively easy to implement. I mean, the lion's share of this work is done by Ed. Eric provided some comments regarding the sketch of the slow no wake around Sandy Point. I think he wanted it to be biased a little bit more towards Edwards Point. I think it's called Edwards Point.
Yes.
And he wants me to modify the approximate jurisdiction to show the state line, which I haven't been able to see where that is on a chart. But I've asked him if he can sketch out what he wants. And Eric, what you can do is print out the chart and then physically sketch what you want me to put on it, take a picture of that, and then email me the picture.
I got a better idea. What are you doing tomorrow?
What time?
Probably going to end up meeting somebody down in the harbor around 10. So 9:30ish.
Yeah, I could do something with that.
I'll give you a call in the morning, and I'll show you the lines on a chart. They're pretty simple.
Okay.
You talking about for the jurisdiction? Matt?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. If you have a
jurisdiction is straight lines. I mean, it's just straight lines, right? The jurisdiction.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I did that freehand. So, I mean, it was a it wasn't necessarily intended to be the final draft, but it's intended to throw something out to you guys, get some feedback. One of the feedbacks could be, we don't want NOAA charts. We want to use who knows what.
I love these, Jess. I think these look great.
No, these are excellent, and I just um, my comments are really in the doing everything we can to keep anybody from pushing back on the new slow no wake and having ways to skirt the new slow no wake, because I can't tell you how much it aggravates me to sit there off of Sandy Point and watch the Walker's Dock boats come in and out on the north side of the Green 5 buoy, technically outside the channel, and just keep it on a plane the whole way, zipping back and forth. And I want to make sure that when the new slow no wake goes into effect, that they're not going to be able to do that and violate the whole intent of slowing people down over there.
Let's see.
Okay, what's next?
Have we ever taken any action to get the day mark put on the end of this, the breakwater down there at Osbrook Point?
No. He's not done that.
I think it'd be something that we should do. We've talked about it, but Ed, I don't think anybody has volunteered to find out what's involved in doing that and pursuing it. But I think it would be a good safety issue to put a day marker on this southern end of those rock piles that come off of Osbrook Point. I think it's also called
Walker Point.
Point.
Pawcatuck Point.
Yeah, I was coming through there last weekend, right where the jetty is, and a huge, I think it was a Steuben, came by, 4 engines, 400 horsepower each, wide open, and there were 5 other boats trying to get through that choke point. So it was definitely a safety hazard.
It definitely is. We experience it when we go to Napatri with our boat, and it's actually become to the point we don't want to go out there. Well, now you can't really go out and get off your boat now with the pandemic, but it's been that way for a while. It's a very dangerous spot. And Eric, I remember us talking last year or the year before about the towing company saying that they experience most of like 5 incidents going up on the rocks each year.
Well, that's an area that we talked a while back about also making a slow no wake zone, and that turned out to be
that got shot down by DEEP.
Right.
Yeah, their theory was that if you bring it down to a choke point, that people will slow down. Well, that's not working.
Well, if you remember what he said was the same people that are going to recognize it as a choke point and slow down are the same people that are going to pay attention to your slow no wake signs. The people that blow it off as a choke point and continue to blow through there are the same people that are going to blow off your slow no wake zones. So that was kind of his, and it also had to do with the fact that it's not a type of, it's a rocky shoreline, so it's not a type of shoreline that they have to try and protect from erosion, and there was some other factors that played into it. The bottom line was DEP wasn't going to back us on trying to do that one, so under the name of pick your battles, we let that go.
Yeah,
but they would not support slow no wake. Might support a day marker. Is that right?
Yeah, he seemed to support the day marker.
Okay.
All right, so I have 2 points to call the Coast Guard aids to navigation people about then to keep off for the marker in the harbor, and I'll talk to him about how do we start the process to request a day mark. It's going to be the same group, so I'll just do it in the same phone call.
Good.
That'd be great.
Eric, can you hear me?
Who's it?
Audio working?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
you're
Yes.
welcome.
I had some audio. I had one question about the jurisdiction map up in Wickwittyquack Cove. It looks like the shading goes up above that railroad passage.
I think we found out last month that that is in fact true.
Okay, I couldn't remember that discussion. I thought it stopped at both of the railroad bridges there. So
No,
Okay.
I think we found out that it stops at the railroad bridge in the harbor, but it does not stop at the railroad bridge in Wickwittyquack Cove because we got those permits that, as I recall, last month Jay said we have to review them because, in fact, that is within our
Oh,
jurisdiction.
okay.
Right, Jay?
Read the jurisdiction, yeah, you'd see.
That's all.
Yeah, hey, Jess.
Yep.
Remind me when we talk tomorrow to adjust the jurisdiction shaded area for Osbrook Point, too.
Okay.
Okay. Any other comments on the plan? So yeah. So if you guys get those as quick as you get those changes in, Ed and Jess, I'll send it back to DEP. I guess you addressed her other comments. The last go around.
Are we on to new business here?
I think we are. If there's nothing else on the plan.
Okay, one of the things that Eric and I talked about on the online moorings is if we could get a link in there to the harbor management plan directly. And it looks like there's also a request to get a link to the local notice to mariners. Is that what that item is, item A?
Yes, yes, notice to mariners. They sent me an email asking if we wanted to include notice to mariners when there's storms. Other harbors do that. I think it was Harpswell in Massachusetts he gave me as an example of that they added. I'm kind of indifferent to it. There's so much information going out, when there are storms. Do we want to send that out to our mooring holders? And who's going to devise the wording? Online Moorings is saying in other areas, the harbor master comes up with the wording for that. And that's another additional task. Does Eric really need that on his plate?
I think there would be a liability issue also.
I would think so too. I wanted to bring it up to discuss with everybody, but I kind of think it's a extra that we don't really need to do right now, but I wanted to bring it up to everyone for their thoughts.
Well, I agree that there's just information overload out there about storms. There's a storm in the Eastern Atlantic right now, so why you people are on this phone call and not out buying bread and milk, I'm not sure. But it's just information overload, and I think us trying to pick and choose what information. I mean, I agree with the liability thing. If I had looked at the reports of Tuesday's storm and said, yeah, well, according to everything I'm seeing, it doesn't look like there's much going on, so don't worry about it. And then we had the blow that we did, and somebody broke loose and did some damage. And it's not a position that we want to be in. I don't think for that kind of information we want to use online mooring services. For other information like I don't know, not anything that would be a liability kind of issue. Hey, don't forget that the blessing of the fleet is coming up in 2 weeks on this date, and get out there with your boats and support the fleet. That kind of information, I think, is something that we would approach. But using it for like storm warnings and such, I'm not in favor of.
I don't see any benefit in having online moorings send out any information like that to the mooring holders. There's so much, as you said, information overload already. Newsletters describes the rest of the fleet. Tells us all about the weather. I mean, I don't see people soliciting information from online moorings to augment something that they probably get through other sources anyway.
Yeah. So one thing, and just the way you worded that, Jesse, kind of keyed me in. It's a misnomer that probably a good portion of the commission has. Anything that comes out via online moorings is not online moorings doings. It's us. We decide what goes out. They are nothing more than a database and a delivery service for us.
Yes.
We decide what information goes out. We decide when the information goes out. We come up with the wording for the information that goes out, unless there's wording somewhere in one of their previously built examples that we can pluck wording from. But online mooring is not doing these things for us. Them
We do them.
saying, do you want to put out a notification was more of a, hey, here's an idea that some other harbors are using, and being that you guys are new, we'll help you through it if you want to do it. It's not a, do you want us to put out a notification for you?
Right. It's something we have to do.
Yeah, we do everything. They, like I said, they're a database and a delivery service. And if you think of it that way, I think that's probably the fairest way to break it down. And a money collector. That's the other thing they do.
We got an
Well, that'd be
agreement on
one
that.
other thing though, Eric. They will help. They do have some help people, and Jen is one of them. That if you have an idea that you might want to do something, you can ask them if it's being, as you just said, it's being done, or would they help you put it together so you can do it? Other than that, Eric's exactly right.
They definitely will help you put together anything that you want to put out, but the onus is on us.
That's right. That's exactly
It's
right.
not on them to do anything. Even when it comes time for renewal notices, the onus is not on them that on January 15th these go out. The onus is on me that on January 15th these things go out. I'm the one that pushes the send button, not online moorings.
That's correct. However, you can, if you chose, program that on January the 15th, such and such an email that you wrote will go out, and they'll make sure that happens.
Yes, but again, it's the onus is on me to.
That's correct.
To click that tab that says yes, do this on this date.
That's absolutely correct. If the commission wanted to write a thank you note to all of the mooring holders, it could be set up. And online mooring would deliver it when we wanted it delivered.
Right. Yeah, they will be the
service organization.
Yep, they're a service organization. Exactly. They would be the sender.
Okay, well, that said, then should we, I don't even think we should necessarily have a policy on this. We should just, if you wanted to use it for something, you could use it for something, Eric, to communicate with.
Yeah, and likewise, if the commission has an idea or something that they want to put out,
You can use this as
Melanie has become a point of contact because she's had the time to work with them. You know, the commission owns this more than I own it, to be honest with you, as far as being in a contract. So that the commission can take full advantage of it also.
Well, I still think it'd be worthwhile if in the online moorings portion of Stonington Harbor, if they had a link, a hot link there to the Stonington Harbor Management website.
No, I agree with that, and that's a service that we will ask them to provide. And I think Melanie should give herself a an action item to talk to them about that.
Well, aren't you nice to do that for me? Thank
See how I did that there?
you. Yeah. I can do that. I actually know how to do that from talking with Matt previously. So I might be able to do that on my own this week.
So we want to go to the website that includes everything, maybe the top level harbor management website. And then once they're there, then they can click on the plan or whatever else they want, agendas, all that stuff. So they have one-stop shop and they get everything if they want it.
Okay, so we want to put the link that goes to the Stonington Harbor Management Commission from the Stonington website, the town of Stonington website. Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
All right.
The link is buried underneath the town website.
Okay.
Is there any? I'm going to play devil's advocate just so we don't cause problems. Is there any town IT issues with doing that? Is that
Well,
a permission that we have to get?
into the town. We're going into the website. We're not trying to divert people out of it. I mean, the issue the town had to do with the way that our moorings were handled with Charles's program. They didn't like the idea that you went into the town and then now you're diverted to another website. So all we're doing is providing people that use moorings online, the Stonington Harbor version of it, or their access, give them direct access to the high-level Stonington Harbor Management website.
Okay.
Shouldn't be a problem there.
Seemed like a question to ask.
Well, maybe Melanie can ask that question, but I don't think there should be a problem.
I don't believe
People
so.
link to the website, we're not giving people access to another website.
Now,
Right.
when you present it that way, you make a lot of sense. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a public website and it's a public page, and we can link that on ours without issue.
Okay.
No, the town website still does link to StoningtonHarbor.org, Charles's website. You click on mooring and wait lists.
Do you want me to have that Cindy change that?
Well, it should go to online mooring and people can view the mooring and wait list there, right?
Is the wait list up to date on online moorings, Eric?
Just as up to date on that as it is on the Charles list.
I will.
Yeah, a lot more up to date.
Yeah.
We haven't had any updates on my old database since like November.
I'll also take that as an action item and talk to Cindy. It takes her 2 seconds to do that.
Well, actually, bringing up a good point. If there's a conflict between the online moorings wait list and mooring list that does not agree with what the website on the town says, then you have to ask which one is precedent. So if there's a potential conflict there, I would say let's not provide a link to the town website on moorings online until we're absolutely sure there is no conflict.
the precedent now is the online mooring list and wait list.
So that maybe the website for the town, our website, maybe those hot links to the mooring list and the wait list should be removed so that they don't have
Agreed.
access to that. No, that's not good. We
Agreed.
can't do that.
No, those are required by the plan.
Yeah, no, we can't do that.
So the link, we just got to fix the link there that links it to the online mooring.
Right.
Okay, I'll do that first before I add it to our homepage on online mooring.
No. That's just the very thing that the town does not like to see. What your suggestion, Jay, is that somebody goes into the website for the town, goes to the sublink that says Harbor Management Commission, clicks on wait list, and that sends them out of the town into another website. That's the very thing the town doesn't want to do. So I think there's a potential problem with that. Maybe we shouldn't even bring it up at all. Let's just leave it as it is until we find out if there's a problem.
Well, right now it's a problem because it's going to the old
Right now,
database.
it's going to a file that we're not even trying to update.
It is a problem now. So
Yeah.
now the alternative is that we would have to publish a list, produce a report out of online mooring or something into a PDF, and then post that at the town.
Well, let's find out if the town.
Plan
Let's find out if the town has a problem with it then. I mean, maybe not. When I talked with their IT guy several years ago, they were not happy that we were going from the town website to something outside of their control. And of course, their issue has to do with, well, it's outside of their control. They don't like that.
I had to go through the training for the virtual meetings. Mr. Riley, I don't remember his first, I think it's Ed. And I have his email, so I'll email him. Is that what you want me to do? Email him and ask him if we can put online mooring link.
How to ask them how to best handle the issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will take that action too.
Yeah, be careful about asking a question that you know they're going to say no to. So I would say try to formulate in such a way as, how can they help us make this happen? You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then let's just, not to really beat this to death, but let's suppose, as Sherm has pointed out, that we decide we don't like online moorings. Can we get that wait list and mooring list back from them and now put it back on our website?
Yes.
Okay.
We can get that information, Jess, anytime we want it, as often as we want it. They have that set up to do. It's one click.
Okay.
All right, good. Other new business? Okay.
Well, the new business is I'm going to contact the police commission and see if we can get on the agenda. And actually, I've already done that.
Okay.
Don't have a reply yet, but I did send something out already.
All right. Excellent. Any other new business to discuss? If not, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
You always.
Second.
Ed's the fastest one making motions. He gave
I
me
know. Second.
I second. Sure.
Any discussion? Are we good on adjourning, everybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
Aye.
All those in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Opposed?
I've got nowhere else to go.
All right. Thank you, everybody. This, Melanie, I must say this worked much better this week than last month was pretty bad.
Yeah, this.
WebEx worked better this month. That's good.
Yeah, we're getting to be pros at this.
Hey, Melanie, what do you think causes my problem on the interference?
You got a crappy mic.
A crappy mic?
Yeah,
Are
Okay,
you using a laptop?
yes,
yeah,
that's
Here's
it.
your answer.
Okay,
yeah. It's
Get a-
usually the
you could
mic
get
and
it.
the computer.
Yeah, you could get a headset like this, or just mute it. All you really need to do is kind of mute it when you're not actually talking, because when you're not talking, what happens is you may actually be able to go and check. There's a little checkbox for automatically adjust the level of your mic.
Yes.
Go into the WebEx and make sure that's turned off. Because what happens is when you're talking, the level comes way up until it picks something up and it's your ambient room noise. So you could
I
go
see.
under the audio setting there, under speaker, mic, and camera. Make sure
Yeah.
that automatically adjust mic level is turned off. Find a good level and peg it there, and then that might solve your problem actually.
Thank you, Charles. I can do that.
And also, I can see, because I keep it up on my screen while we're in the meeting, and I can see if you're not talking, but we're getting feedback, it'll show that I'm getting it from you. That's how I knew it was from your connection.
That's great.
Now I'm worried.
Uh-oh.
Now I'm worried.
All right,
Right.
guys, I'm going to end the
Right.
meeting and I'm going to stop the recording.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night, all.
Good night.